Hey Isaac, a very good evening to all of you. I'm Samadhi Kasuriarachi, your host for this evening. So we'll have to wait a few minutes for the guests to arrive. Until then, we have an exciting announcement for you guys. So I would like to invite Ravindu to now give an announcement about the entity championship. So Ravindu, over to you.
Thank you, Samadhi, and good evening, everyone. Our OCVP delegates, Yenuli is also here. So let me share my screen. So we've circulated the message regarding the evaluation criteria for the both team championship and the individual evaluation of the 100 storytellers. Since the first day, we've told you that we'll be selecting the best team out of the 7 at the end of the 100 storytellers project at the National Marketers Award. So basically, as the first task, we have informed you about the logos, and I think all of you have done a really great job being creative and thinking outside the box. That on the screen we can see all the 7 teams with their logos. So about the team championship, even at the beginning of this event, each team were given 1,000 points at the beginning of the project. Each team got the same 1,000 points, and then those 1,000 points include the attendance point as well as the assignment points. These two divides into 300 and 700, and then these 300 points equally distribute among the number of delegates and the number of sessions, which means if a delegate from any entity logs into the session and stays throughout, he or she will be earning some points for their respective teams. Also, the 700 points equally distributes among the number of assignments and the number of delegates. If any of you completes an assignment, you will be earning points to your team as well. So this is how we track attendance. This is the sample tracker that we have been tracking all of you. We are using Zoom attendance report to mark the attendance for whoever joined throughout the session. So about the task completion, this is about regarding the assignments. I think Yanuli and Chamodi have been passing messages around the delegates group with the stipulated deadlines and about the assignments as well. So every assignment will be evaluated from our R&D team and given marks on a scale of 0 to 100, and that evaluation will be valuable to your individual evaluation as well as the team evaluation with regards to the team championship at the end of this project. So regarding the SIM 10 best marketers, which is we'll be using the individual evaluation throughout. These 10 best marketers will be evaluated based on their attendance. They are based on their attendance, their assignments marks, and their engagement throughout the sessions and the other group activities as well. So final scores will be consisting of 20% of attendance, 10% of campaign management, and a 70% from assignment. So I hope you guys are doing your assignments and submitting them before the stipulated deadline, so you can earn yourself scores and also give some points to your teams as well. So this is a common announcement for all of you, all of the delegates who have been participating throughout. Any participant who has maintained his or her attendance above the level of 60% and assignments marks above the 65% will be receiving the certificate from the Storytellers Academy, which we will deliver to you after the National Marketers Day. So I think we have shared the evaluation booklet with you guys as well. If you have any queries or questions or clarifications needed, you can always direct them at this link, or you can you can contact either organizing committee vice president Yanuli or Chamoti. Yanuli is also here. Do you have anything to add, Yanuli?
No, Ravinder, you pretty much covered everything I wanted to say.
Okay, okay. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the evening as well. And let's see who wins at the end of this project. Thank you. Over to you, Samadhi. Also moving on, before moving on to the today's session, if any of you guys have any doubts, or if you need any
Okay,
clarifications.
thank you, Ravi. And Yanuli. Yeah, go on.
Sorry. So if you have any clarifications, anything, you can drop in the Zoom chat or contact Yanuli or Chamodi. Thank you. Back to you, Samadhi.
Yeah. So what do you guys feel about the announcement that Ravindu and Yanuli just made? I hope you guys are excited. I mean, we've come a long way, and there's just a few more episodes of this program to go. So I hope you guys are enjoying this so far, and hope you guys have made it to the best 100 delegates, because we have more exciting news coming up. We're getting closer to the National Marketing Day as well. So drop in the chat box about what you think about the announcement. And yeah, we'll just have to wait a few minutes for the speakers to arrive. So until then, can you drop in the chat box perhaps, or unmute yourselves? That doesn't matter. We just want you to interact. So drop a message in the chat box about what you think about the sorry, we have one of the speakers here. Sorry, I'm sorry. We've got one of the speakers here. So I'll get back to you. Until then, can you drop a message in the chat box about what you think about the entity championship announcement? Yeah, so I'll get back to you. All right, so we have our speaker for today's session. We've got Miss Amra Iuoop. I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name right, but yeah, we've got her here now. So very sorry for the delay, but today, I must say we have one of the most interesting sessions planned out for you guys. But hold on, before we begin, quick shout out to our partners. We've got the Chartered Institute of Marketing as our official gold partner, Articulate Asia as our media partner, and CurveUp Private Limited as our platform partner. And I must thank them for being here since day one. And they are definitely one of the biggest reasons why we could pull this off amidst the current situation. So without further ado, I would like to invite Amra to take over the meeting. She is the co-founder of CurveUp Private Limited. So having said that, today we will be discussing about our state of mind when creating a digital presentation. Sounds like a psychology lesson. Well, it's still a marketing lesson. Without further delay, I would like to invite take over the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Samadhi. Thank you for the shaky but good introduction. All right, welcome guys. I think I have to welcome myself here. You guys are already familiar with everything and the amazing things you are learning already. So my name is Amra. You don't have to bother about my surname. It's always complicated and no one gets it right. Nearly no one gets it right. So you can call me Amra. And today we are going to get into something called what I call presentitude. Okay, so guys, I am not a person who talks a lot, so I would expect a lot of engagement from you, and this is not going to steer forward unless you are going to engage. So to start off with, the word presentitude, can we use the chat box? I want to see how many of y'all are actually listening to me. What do you think presentitude means? You can use the chat box, or if anyone wants to unmute, also I warmly welcome it. What do you think presentitude actually means? Use the chat box to type in what you think it means. Okay, I see quite a lot of instant answers already. Attitude, you present yourself, presentation attitude, attitude of presenting. So I see a lot of attitude there, presenting your ideas. Okay, Minoli, all right. Okay, so quite a lot of attitude in there. Okay, so before I sort of like reveal what the exact meaning is, which I'm gonna do right at the end, not now, or else by just listening to me for the next hour, I believe you will already understand what attitude actually, presentitude actually means. Okay, so a couple of things we're gonna cover today is in the very, very short time, because if you let me talk about this, I would go for 7 days straight. Okay, so presentitude is something that's happening there actually. What do you all see there actually? I would like one of you guys to like unmute and just give me one single observation of what you see in this particular picture. What's the first thing you saw, or what's the second thing you saw? Anyone would like to unmute and tell me, or even I welcome things in the chat as well. Psychedelic. Okay, wow, that's quite intense, Shahan. But anything else? Do you all see anything very simple there? Like, I mean, it does look what you say, but do you see anything very simple there? Anyone? Good feelings. Okay. No one has any other observation or anything apart from Shahan? As much as I welcome it. Vision, attitudes, love. Okay, lovely. Okay, so every time I show this picture to people, they come up with very different things. Like not twice have I heard the same thing. You know, it's amazing. Okay, so nature, senses, goals, heart and brain, thoughts and sense. Spiritual, a person, heart and mind, how we see things. Amazing, amazing. Love these thoughts actually. Presentation of human sensors. Sense with Newton. I like what Sachini is actually trying to tell us, like presentation of human sensors. Technically, it takes our whole body to realize everything that we see and we hear, and we do that, right? So it's all a lot of things as to how our human body actually works. I'm not going to teach you guys science here, but this picture is all about, number one, three things actually. First thing is, the first very big thing that you see is the heart. Okay, the heart, which actually looks in the form of a plant. Okay, and if you notice there's a little water can there, and you obviously notice that someone's been watering that plant, also called the heart, and it has like fully bloomed, and it looks like really proper and lovely. It looks so youthful, right? So that's the state of our heart as well, guys. You need to keep pouring water into it for it to actually bloom and be proper. So the same way, you need to keep your water is basically all the lovely things, or anything to do with love actually, right? So the lovely things that you can do to your heart, feeling good things and all of that, your heart is going to always feel better. The more you surround yourself with toxic vibe, that's not going to work. Okay, so that's the first thing. So always keep watering your heart. Okay, and then that will also give you sort of like enlightenment and elevate you from this point to your mind. So as you can see, the mind, what do you see there? In the head, right on the top, what do you see? Do you see anything? Because none of you mentioned that yet, the word yet. What is it that you see at the top of your head? Head in the clouds, absolutely. Right. So here, what the cloud actually represents is, you know how clouds work, right? So clouds are like just solidified particles of air and dust and all of that, and it keeps collecting water particles. And the moment it gets very heavy and gray, it starts raining. It lets go, and then it comes back to its own fluffy, whitey-ish self, you know? So that's how your mind's also supposed to be. The more you get into it, you've got to like sort of like de-stress and let it go, like a sponge that, you know, that you squeeze and the water comes out. That's how you got to treat your mind. Okay, so the heart and the brain, basically the head, the brain, is so important when it comes to presentitude actually, and you're going to see more of this in a while. Okay, the third thing I want you guys to notice is the parrot, the little bird. At least I'm not sure if that's a parrot, but it's a bird at least. Let's call it a parrot. Okay, what do you think the parrot depicts here? Anyone? What does a parrot depict here? Words. words, speaking talkative, right speed, stuttering words, speaking right. Lovely, lovely. Thanks so much, guys. Like Susanna and Baudarani. Awesome, awesome. A lot of speaking coming from you guys. Okay, so what does a parrot actually do, guys? How does it becoming like a talking animal? Or it does so by repeating things, right? When you start training it, and then it in the beginning it's not going to talk or repeat anything after you, nothing like that. But after some time, it takes a couple of months, maybe a year or two, or sometimes more, it starts repeating words. And the reason is because it keeps trying it, it keeps practicing it, and finally eventually gets there. So that's the third thing for today, guys. Okay, so you water your heart, okay, you keep it light, and you keep your mind light, de-stress when you need to, when it's getting too heavy, because your brain's got to be very healthy too. And always practice everything you want to learn. I mean, you learn basically, and that's how you are eventually going to get it. So these are the three different things. These are three different mantras I follow by myself, whether it comes to marketing or my lecturing or my training or basically running a startup, anything, right? So these are very, very three important mantras I follow. Okay. So with that, there you go. So presentitude is all about having the right to be able to attract one's heart and one's brain, and to be able to combine the story with actually facts. So heart always gets attracted towards a story, whereas brain always, your head always attracts facts. So your presentation as a marketeer, it's got so important to have a story as well as facts. That's so important to actually have it. Okay, so that's a little thing about presentitude. Okay, so this is my huge, I would say, secret behind having the right presentitude, which is having something called aesthetic appeal. I am very, very sure you guys already know what aesthetic appeal means, but I still want to hear it from you guys. What do you think aesthetic appeal means according to you? Look good. Okay, Shehan says look good. What else do I see? Beauty and art, pleasing, first impression, attraction to artistic things, artistic skills, attractive beauty and art, facial expressions. Okay, calming, lovely, lovely, right? So aesthetic is all of that. Obviously, aesthetic is something that actually calms you. And it can be anything. It can be a piece of art. It can be the layout that you use on your Instagram profile, or it could be the slides that you're going to create hereafter, right? So aesthetic appeal can actually be achieved. So if you look at this particular slide, it was used from a stock image from Google and just a couple of layers on Microsoft PowerPoint. Very, very simply done. Right. So just a couple of tools that are used for this, but I'm not going to take a technical subject here. I'm just going to guide you through what are the simple things you could do to achieve aesthetic appeal in your slides. Okay. So are you ready to dive in? Yes or no? So Bob. Okay. So two quick tips is to always skip the stock template. And I'm sure you guys as students already are sick of seeing presentations with the same template again and again and again and again. So as marketeers or whoever you are going to be, when you're creating a slide, the first thing I want you to do is skip the bloody stock template. I mean, like, take it and throw it out. Like, I don't want you to ever use it again. That's like your first important foundation for creating aesthetic slides. Okay. Second thing is, this also needs to go out. Oh, where is it? This one. Ditch the bullet points. Oh my God, they're nightmares on slides. Terrible nightmares on slides. So try to ditch them at any cost. But okay, you'll be like, okay, so how do I actually put my content? Don't worry, there are so many ways to do it. So one single tip right now I'm saying is that you can actually compartmentalize. So for example, here, I've just simply used lines, which shows that I've compartmentalized 4 different things actually here. So you could use compartmentalize, you can use different shapes, you can use, you can be really, really creative here, right? So second, very, very foundation point is that you got to ditch the bullet points. And after that, there are 4 things that you have to sort of focus on. So what are these 4 things? One is your color. And unfortunately, you can study color as much as possible, but you gotta have an eye for color, actually. Some people are natural at it, some people are not, right? So, but the more you practice, the more you get better, actually, right? So those, you have to keep getting feedback and keep reverting to get the color right. Typography is pretty easy to nail, okay? It's about what font you use and how you use the fonts and how you use your text, basically, in your slides. Third thing is images, and the 4th thing is background. So as marketeers, background is so important for you guys, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's start off with maybe the color. We start off with typography. So font, guys. Very important. Whatever text you put into your slides has got to be concise, which means you keep it, as simple as possible. And to the point, obviously. So don't beat around the bush and all. Just have the word that's only important. Completely screw the rest. Okay, so that's one way to do. Do not use more than 4 lines of text. Trust me, as a marketer, more than an educator, I have to stress this to you, actually, as you being a marketer. Do not use more than 5 lines. I mean, if you can even use 3 lines, 2 lines, 1 line also, it would be perfect. That's one way to go with how you place the text. Okay, so here's something. I'm not sure how many of you guys are using the laptop, but those who are using the laptop will be slightly easy for you. I want you guys to annotate a couple of fonts, What are the go-to fonts you usually use as marketers or as students or whatever? Okay, so if you guys can, I would love if you can sort of like put it on the whiteboard. I mean, use the annotate tool. I'm not sure how you can, I'm sure. So you go, there's a little green color bar there, you go on top and then you click on more. There's something called annotate. So you can use that too, but I'm totally fine with the chat also. So, okay, so I'm just gonna pick a few here and put them on the board. Let me see how I'm gonna do that. Okay, right. Okay, so I've got Lato, then I've got Comic Sans. Oh my God, someone uses Comic Sans. Oh, where's my stuff going, man? Do you all see my font or is it going away? Oh, it's disappearing. I wonder why that is. That's the first time it's happened. Weird. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna forget about that. Okay, so I got Cambria, Sans Serif, Roboto, Calibri, Times New Roman, Arial, Railway, Panscript. What else do I have? Lobster, Brusher. Okay, couple of things I'm not even familiar with, but okay. But I've got the basic ones here. I've got Calibri, I've got Times New Roman. I think those are like one of the few fonts that's like really common and everyone's quite familiar with. And then Sans Serif, then Roboto, Arial, Comic Sans is pretty famous. Okay, so there is a difference between these types of fonts actually. So what are the 2 differences is, okay, gonna close this. Okay. These are the 2 different types of fonts. So you can kind of like categorize all the fonts into these 2 categories. There's one more actually. So there's the handwriting category, which is sort of like doesn't fit into serif or sans serif. So serif or sans serif. So serif are the ones with the little feet. If you can see the little lines, okay, those are called serif fonts. And sans serif is the one with kind of like the rounded ends, and you call it the feet free or the modern type of font, and serif is called the traditional one. Okay, so the 3rd category is handwriting, sorry. So which one of this, which type of font do you think as a marketeer you would have to go for? A serif font or a sans serif font? Tisal says both, Shavin says sans serif, Ravin says sans, okay. Sans. Okay, I get a lot of sans and few both. Like couple of few both. Okay. Paired, interesting. All right, interesting. Okay. So mostly it's more easier or safer to opt for a sans serif font compared to a serif font. So serif font, you would like to mostly keep it to something like really formal, right? I mean, if you want to make sure that you want to grab the public eye easily, you would want to stick to sans serif and try to avoid serif. But there are ways of including serif which tends to not. So what happens is when you use a lot of text on a slide and also the font that you use is serif, then it's going to get really hard to read. So the readability apparently is very low when you use a serif font. So examples of serif font, I think from what you use is Times New Roman, the most easiest example I can tell you. And an example of sans serif is obviously Calibri, Arial, and all of that. Right, so I'm not going, there's like a gazillion fonts here which I cannot categorize. Yes, okay, so let me just ask you guys. Someone said Yellowtail. Okay, Tisal says Yellowtail. Tisal, tell me, is it a sans serif or a serif font?
It's actually like a handwritten type of font.
Okay, so it's neither. All right, cool. That's a good font to go with. Obviously, I think marketeers usually go opting for more handwriting styled types of fonts right now. So that's also again sometimes safe to play with. Okay, so with that, right, we spoke about the font type. Now the size. Now, you don't want it to be too big or too small. Obviously, you want it to have the appropriate font size. So if you ask me what is the appropriate font size, usually as marketeers or whatever, it is good to keep it at least at 30 points. And you could probably go up to about 125 or even that sometimes, right? So it depends, obviously, but safe to play it around 30 to 60 and all of that. You keep it around that particular range, okay, for the size of the font. Then we will go on to the color theory. Okay, so color theory is pretty lengthy, guys, actually, but let me try and dive into a certain couple of tips for it. So color is so important that it actually increases your comprehension by 73% actually. So 73% comprehension is when who is viewing your slide will understand simply when you use color playwright actually. So one of my rules of following color in a particular slide is I go by the 60-30-10 rule. So how I go with is 60 is like the largest color, like just like the pie chart depicts. So blue is like my biggest color. Orange is something that I use for maybe probably a certain text or a certain theme or something which would go on the blue. And yellow is something to actually bring out something or kind of like highlight something. So that's why I use the third color very little. And the 60-30 is pretty much managed within a particular slide. Right, so 60-30-10 rule. Another way of there you go. So if you can see this picture, this particular slide, I have sort of like it does definitely look aesthetic because my 60 ratio is mostly the blacks and the grays and shades of that, and my 30 ratio color is white, obviously, and my 10 ratio color is sort of like I think that's orange or something. I don't know. I don't know what you call the color, but yeah, sort of like a very orangish sort of thing going on there. So, and if you see, I have sort of like borrowed the color from the picture itself, which makes it look aesthetic. So this is another example of a slide of how you play with the colors. Usually you are advised not to use more than 5 colors in a single slide. This is including your picture itself. If you're using an image, make sure that with the image also looks. So that's, I mean, the less the number of colors or hues or whatever that you see on your slide, the more aesthetic it's going to look. So this is a picture that I took by myself on from one hot air balloon to overlooking another one. Anyone can guess where this place is? No one? Let me see. I'm pretty sure. Okay. So this also is Sigiriya. Okay. Okay. A lot of Sigiriyas. Dambulla. Okay. Close. So this is actually on top of Kandalama Lake. Definitely yes, Dambulla, and overlooking Sigiriya and the other ones with the Ramala Rock. Right. So this is a picture taken there. So if you look at my font, right? The font is such that I have sort of like borrowed colors from the picture itself. And if you see, the grays are like from the mountains, and my 5, the word 5 comes from the hot air balloon itself. And that is what sort of like makes it look very, very aesthetic. So how do you do this? I hope you guys are already familiar, but there is the eyedropper tool, and it's like a savvier when it comes to aesthetics. So you take the eyedropper tool and borrow colors from this. I'm not going to get into technicals, guys. This is something I already prepared for a couple of educators before. So that's why I'm using this. So those of you, in case you guys don't know, the little eyedropper tool, you go and put it on the point where the color that you want to use, and then you can use it wherever you want to. Okay. So that's one way of keeping it very, very aesthetic. All right. So my eyedropper tool is like my go-to tool for it. Okay, so we finished typography, we finished colors, and the third one is images. So images, I don't have much to say except for the fact that always try to limit it to 1 image per slide, kind of like avoid using more than one. Again, to reach the aesthetic appeal in your slides. So 1 image, and as you can see, once again, the colors are being borrowed from the image itself, and that's one of the reasons why this particular slide kind of looks very aesthetic. Okay, so remember, 1 single image. So usually when you want to use your PowerPoint, you can simply use a lot of stock images from PowerPoint itself. I'm not sure how many of you guys actually use this, but it's pretty much easy because they really have high-res pictures there. So what do, you go to pictures and click on stock images, and it has a whole lot of images for you to use. Okay, so click on images and type whatever you want and select the picture. They're all pretty high-res. 4th one, background. Okay, what do you guys see in this picture, actually? What's happening in this picture? Raindrops, raining, Rome, chaos. I like Savit saying chaos, yes. So a lot of people are actually seeing the rain first compared to what I have actually put on there. My content, it was not the rain. I didn't want you guys to actually see the rain. But unfortunately, that's what you guys saw, not my actual content. So it's so important. Background is so important when you want to relate something. If you're capturing someone's eye, you can play around a lot with the background. But if you want to sort of like give a very serious content, or you want someone to like take your content seriously, better to go with play safe with the background. So you have to use your background in such a way that there's a lot of negative space. So what is this negative space? Basically nothing on your slides. You also call it white space and all of that. So same word, it means the same thing. So only when you use a lot of negative space, you have your focus area where people can actually sort of like look up the focus area and, you know, like see what you're really trying to say. So sometimes you might want to have the background, but still you want to create the focal point. So you always play with something called translucency, opaque and stuff like that. I'm going to take you to that in a minute, actually. So usually these are the three different, very simply, if I have to go, these are the three different categories of backgrounds you can use: a solid background, a pattern background, and a photo background. Anyone wants to unmute and tell me when should we use any of these backgrounds? Anyone has any idea? I'm pretty sure you guys are already acknowledged. When do you use each of these types of backgrounds? Okay, I'm gonna pick someone. All right, let me see. Oh, there's someone already. Who's that? Someone unmute. Nope. Okay, let me pick. Can I hear from Darshana? Darshana from Ruhanu. Are you there? Would you like to unmute and tell me what's happening here? What background can I use when? In what situation can I use each of these backgrounds? Darshana? Darshana's gone to sleep. Okay. Okay, someone's saving someone in the, okay. So photo background for a website, Tisal says, and Shahan says solid when there's a lot of text, patterns when you want to grab attention, photo for both. Okay, interesting. Patterns also when less text. Okay, all right, okay, right, okay. Thanks, guys. So let me tell you this, right? Solids are used when you wanna say something serious. Okay, so for as an educator, if you wanna use sort of like if you want to educate someone, or if you want to create some awareness, you would like to go for a plain black background. And that's why one of these, these product reveal presentations usually have solid backgrounds in the back, and usually they're like black or white or gray or some solid color, right? So say something serious, solid, okay? If you want to bring out the brand a lot more than what you're actually saying, you would use a photo, okay? Pattern, usually I would say please avoid it. Avoid it, actually. But pattern also sort of like, I don't know, in a marketing presentation or anything, for some reason, this is a very personal thing. You guys can go for it if you really think it looks well. It's so hard to convince what you're trying to say with a pattern background, actually. I mean, it's so confusing. I mean, you'll be like wondering, is this person trying to say something serious, or what is it? It gives you a lot of confused vibes actually there. So always I would try to say avoid patterns, okay? Try to always opt for a solid or a photo, and that's like playing safe actually, right? So that's with the background. So here's an example of a pattern background. I think that's the next one. Oh no, it's not. Okay, here you go. Okay, pattern background. So in this little pattern background, sorry guys, I just want to give a little, so any of the organizing committee here, I just want to go into a breakout room next. Anyone here who can help me out? Oh, I think I can create it myself. No worries, I can do it. No worries. Okay, so look at this. What's happening here? Pattern is for when you're fed up with traditional white or black background. Yeah, probably. You can probably have like your subset slides or something that in it, probably. So white is going, yeah, exactly. So why is it so risky to use a pattern background or something with a background that's where there's so much happening? Is because of your text usually. So if your text is hard to read, then your background is a complete failure, right? Whatever content you're trying to say there. So one way of overcoming that, if you really want to go for a pattern and go for it, is, like I said earlier, you can sort of like use an opaque background behind the text, or a sort of like a transparent background. So here I have opted for a transparent background, which is always more aesthetic compared to opaque backgrounds actually. So it's the same text, guys, which is on top and which is on at the bottom. Same text, okay? But obviously the only thing that you read is the bottom one. It's very hard to read what's on top. So it's very chaotic, actually. Also, if you notice, my text boxes are like not perfect squares. I have kind of like rounded it off. Again, aesthetics there. So very, very few tips is what converts an ordinary slide to a very aesthetic slide. So these are a couple of tips, okay? So with that, using visuals to actually increasing the emotional appeal. So these are all like additional tips that you could probably use. And as a marketer, that's so important, but I'm going to focus on that slide a bit later. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually randomly put you guys into organizing committee. I know you guys have renamed yourself, but in case you guys get into rooms, just play along or come out and I will sort of like do that. What you're going to do is you're going to get into a breakout room with some random person out here. I hope you guys have come with, what's that called? A laptop, or else at least have like something on your phone. I think should work. Click on this link. You will be redirected to, okay, let me share the screen again. You are going to be redirected to something like this. Okay, it's nothing but just empty PowerPoint slides. So there are around, I believe there are around 50 slides here. Okay, and I believe that's enough for the number of views. So we're talking about 96 people means less than 50 pairs for sure. What you're going to do is you're going to create one single slide with your buddy. And what I want you to do is I want you to think of a content, and your checklist is where you'll have to have a proper background. You will have to have, obviously, make the use of a stock photo, which is in this itself. So insert, go to pictures and stock images, you're going to find it. Okay, so use a stock image from PowerPoint itself. Use the right font and right color to create this. So you're going to create one single slide with a background where your background is going to be a stock photo or whatever. So think about it and play it right with the font and with the color. Okay, so one slide alone. And how long do you have for this? You actually have just 10 minutes for this. And let me see who gets it right. Do y'all have any questions before we go for the breakout room? All right, you guys are back. Okay. So as I was like already sharing the screen, okay, as I was already sharing the screen, you guys would have seen quite a lot of impressive slides actually. So let me share it once again. Okay, I've got only 5 minutes left with you guys. So I'm going to make the max out of it. Lovely. I believe some had trouble with some groups. They did not have access to a laptop, but don't worry guys, you can always try this when you get access to a laptop. So some interesting slides actually. I see that everyone's like stuck to some safe fonts, mostly sans serif fonts, feet-free fonts, and okay. So let's do this. I want you guys to vote for the best aesthetic slide. So what you have to do is just go to the first slide, pick a thumbs up, and go and paste it where you feel that it's an aesthetic slide. So let's see which slide gets the most number of votes. Shall we do that? Yep, go to the first slide and go vote for the slide you think is like really aesthetic. You don't have to just vote for one slide. You can vote for more than one. Let's see which one gets the most number of thumbs up. Okay, put the thumbs up where I can see, actually. Okay, lovely. Okay. While the voting is actually happening, I'm just going to run through a couple of things. Okay. Now, for example, here, if you look at this, this doesn't seem like an original design. The reason is because, can you see that I cannot touch the background here? So they've opted for automated, like AI design, actually. There are automated designs. So sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. So it's always good to go and create your things from scratch, actually. Okay. Again, too much of text here. Effective digital presentitude, video marketing, like so good. I would say go for just select only one. Too much of text here. All right, here, love the whole vibe, fly with Isaac and the whole eagles and all that. Looks really nice. Yeah, it looks kind of nice, but I would have gone with fly with, yeah, I think it looks nice. I should say. 1 cup of coffee. Oh my kidding, that's sweet, that's lovely. Again, I would have chosen a different type of font color actually here. This one, not sure what you're trying to say, but the background is nice, but the font is, this is very interesting. I really, really like the slide. Aspire to inspire before we expire. That's very sweet. But I would try and put a little shadow for this particular text. Let's see. I'm not sure you can do that here. No? Okay, yeah, that's a problem. So the online version doesn't really allow you to do a couple of things. It's kind of like compromise, but this is lovely. I would do a little shadow for inspire because it's yellow and white. So a shadow would kind of like bring that thing out. But lovely, lovely design, this one. This is nice. Interesting choice of font here for your little description. Land your next dream job with us. Yeah, probably. Okay, love the nature. So guys, always try to avoid using Comic Sans. I mean, it's a font for the babies actually. So try and avoid that. Here again, not really working. I love the picture though, the choice of thing, but your font is nice, your size is lovely, but something's happening with the background here. I think y'all haven't completed it. That's what I believe. Probably y'all would have gone for some sort of like a transparent thing or something like that happening there. So that's something you could work with. So here, what can I say? Okay, again, limited on the online version. Okay. This is nice. This is nice, but there's no text except for your names. I think again, it's incomplete, but lovely choice of picture. Please wear a face mask. This is lovely. One thing extra I would have done if it was for me was to have the font color borrowed from this little mask here actually. So I'm not sure if you can do that. Do you have the eyedropper tool here? No. Okay, that's tough. That's a tough one for sure. Okay, so there you go. This is nice actually. Again, is it like a borrowed? Oh no, it's original. Lovely. Love this. Be a wise man who is not a garbage can save the ocean. Okay. So I would completely get rid of the border here, but overall lovely guys actually. Looks nice. Again, original? No, something's happening here. It's not original. Okay, ditch the bullet points also. Right, lovely. Let's see how many, which is the best slide here. I see 7, 3, 2, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7, 2 slides in tie so far. Oh wow, how come I missed this one? That has a lot of likes. Step to your future. Indeed nice. But once again, guys, if you notice, it's not original. So yep, it's not original. See, if you can see, I cannot select these little elements here. It's not original. They've used an AI design, which Microsoft PowerPoint actually has. So good job, guys. I think there's a tie in the winner between this slide, Fly with Isaac, and Please Wear a Face Mask. So congratulations. Are you happy to win? Live sack. Okay. All right. So that goes to room number, I think 14 and room number 1 actually. Congratulations. Yay. Okay. So, all right. So what's the biggest learning here? Take, that's great, guys. Within 10 minutes, all of you guys did a rocking job. Amazing. So great job. Actually, kudos. And So one last thing I'm going to ask you, we'll just take a minute here. What has been your greatest learning today? I want you to use the chat box for this and put in your views in it actually. What has been your biggest learning for today? So while you're coming up with that comment, this is my last takeaway for today. So presentation is always a story, the structure, the content, as well as the actual delivery and the design. So it's everything put together. It's a whole lot of components. It's a huge skeleton of things put together to give you the actual presentitude. So once again, guys, presentitude is about not just what your content is about, it's also about your story, it's also about the facts. Both of them have to match with each other, and it's also about creating something very aesthetically appealing, which calms and which convinces someone. So all the best, you guys, as a marketeer in future, and I'm hoping to see some killer presentations from you all.
All right, so thank you, Ms. Amra, so much. I'm really sorry that I got your name wrong a couple of times and the shaky introduction.
That's okay.
I was a bit excited. So yeah, so thank you so much. But that was so well explained, and especially the part where you sort of basically, gave us a human psychology lesson, and you beautifully connected it to digital marketing. I hope our delegates learned a lot and got their questions clarified. And I think I speak for everyone when I thank Ms. Amra for joining us today. We know that you're busy, and it's really wonderful that you could you would take your time to create such an inspiring, insightful presentation. And many thanks for addressing our delegates with your experience and knowledge. Thank you so much. So I bet we have achieved so much in the time that we've been here, and gained a lot today through this session. This session is over, of course, but it doesn't stop here. We'll meet our delegates again tomorrow. I know I've enjoyed today enormously, and I hope you all have too. So with that, Bahe, our cameraman, is ready to take photos. Everyone, please switch on your cameras. So over to you, Bahe.